We are back with a recap of the Blue Jackets opening night game in Carolina in which they lost 4-1. So we're going to get into the good and the bad. We're going to start with the bad, and especially in regards to injury news that happened even before the game started. We figured out earlier in the day that Elvis would not be able to play in the game with an illness, so that means Daniil Tarasov would get the start. Jet Greaves would be an emergency call-up. Thankfully, he did not need to enter the game, but he did get some, I guess, experience sitting on the bench for the Columbus Blue Jackets with the NHL club. Kent Johnson was also technically sent on loan to Cleveland, but I'm hoping that's more of a paper move than an actual designation for Kent Johnson. I think Kent Johnson is definitely one of the 9 best forwards in this lineup. I feel like he could easily slide into a top 9 role, especially depending on another injury that we'll get into in just a second. Patrick Laine, obviously, he had the goal in this game, the only goal for the Blue Jackets, but a little bit after that, in the second period, he would go into the glass, kind of weird with his elbow when he went into the corner. It looked like he was holding his elbow. He was doubled over in pain. He would end up leaving, going down the tunnel. He would not return after that, and he did get some X-rays. We don't know how serious those came back, how long this injury is going to be. I guess you can hope that his injury isn't anything serious, but with the way he reacted immediately when he skated off and he was doubled down in pain on the bench and everything that happened, it doesn't have the signs of a good injury. But we've feared a Laine injury before, most notably last year against Minnesota when it looked like he might be out for a while, but he ended up being ready to go in either the next game or within the week. So hopefully this is one of those cases, but again, doesn't look good. So back to the game itself, it just wasn't great for the Blue Jackets. I think they looked okay in the first period, but in periods 2 and 3, you could really tell that Carolina was going to be the better team, and they weren't going to let their opening night game be a loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight. That Sillinger goal that was called back for offsides was a crushing blow because it was a tie game. You're on the power play. It's looking dead. Laine just went away with injury, and then Cole Sillinger does an amazing move to get the puck in the zone and spins around 2 guys and scores a goal, but he is offsides. I do agree that he was offsides. It just kind of sucks that he was only offsides by barely anything. I don't know if it would have mattered if he was onside or not for the goal, but whatever. It is what it is. It's a Blue Jackets game, and we're already getting into goals being called back for offsides. Rozovic's turnover for that first Carolina goal was just sloppy. If you're gonna make a pass behind your net, you should probably be looking at who you're passing it to. Don't just pass it behind your back and just expect that someone's gonna be there. I know Jody Shelley said that maybe Seth Jarvis might have tapped in. Jack Rozovic might have thought it was one of his defenders calling for the puck. But either way, if you're gonna pass it behind your back, especially if it's behind your own net, make sure you know who you're passing to. That would be my advice. And in the third period, they were only down by 1 goal heading into the third, so maybe if you regroup and go back and play your game, chip away the lead or whatever. But no, they came out in the third period, and it was immediate and obvious that Carolina was just going to be the better team throughout that period. And the power play without Patrick Laine looked really dead, and I know that Patrick Laine is like the most dangerous thing about the power play, but there are other weapons on this team that you would want to make themselves known as a presence. But they just weren't able to generate anything. And that might be credit to Carolina just being a really, really good team. But you still want to see some signs of life out of that power play, even if Patrick Laine isn't really available. And I feel like the offense in general, with the exception of that Laine goal, just was never really able to generate consistent zone time, consistent pressure. You'd get some isolated chances here and there. But besides that, maybe it's just Carolina. Again, Carolina's a very good team. Maybe it was just their defense doing a really good job of making sure that Columbus's offense wasn't able to generate much in their own zone. The defense is still having issues with clearing their own zone at times. Again, that Rozovic turnover is really bad, but even when they're not turning the puck over, just some of their outlet passes are still a little sloppy. There's still some issues, although they do seem to be getting better at not allowing as many behind the net passes right in front of point blank range from the goalie. They seem to be kind of collapsing in order to kind of counteract that, which is good for preventing cross-ice passes, but it does kind of screen your goalie a little bit more. So we'll look at that as the season goes on. But I thought in general the defense still has some issues, but there looked to be a little bit more structure than there was at the beginning of last year. But there was some good things that I thought that went on in this game. It is the first game. I don't want to freak out and be too much of a negative Nancy. Again, I did think that the first period did go pretty well for the Jackets. It shows that for at least 20 minutes, the Jackets can hang with a good team with the momentum on the road, which I think is nice. I thought Daniil Tarasov played a pretty good game despite that goal number being 4. That's not a good number usually, but I do think he played very solid. I think his save percentage is still over 900. The Jackets did allow a lot of shots against Tarasov. And, the only bad goal that I think he let in was the one Svechnikov sneak shot where he wasn't quite set, and then Svechnikov just kind of caught him not set and still not in the crease or whatever. I think that's the only one he would want back. But besides that, I can't complain too much about how Daniil Tarasov played, especially on day of notice, essentially, where he probably wasn't anticipating playing, but he got the notice earlier in the afternoon, and he seemed to anticipate that challenge very well. We did see a Laine goal. It was assisted by Zach Werenski. Again, his injury does put a damper on the goal that he scored, but again, if we err on the side of optimism and hope that his injury isn't that serious, hopefully he can come back sooner rather than later, and him and Gaudreau can develop some chemistry. And if Laine is going to be out for a significant amount of time, and that offense and that power play is what it's going to look like without him, we could be in for a really rough start to the season because the Jackets' schedule does not get any easier anytime soon. So thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, please feel free to leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it. Let me know what you thought about how the Jackets played in this game down in the comments below. Do you think that their effort was admirable? They were just playing up against a much better Carolina team, or did you want to see a little bit more from the Blue Jackets tonight? Thank you all again for watching, and I will see you at the next one.